Hey, so yeah, this didn't come out on Halloween. Some shit happened and it got delayed today. But I hope you enjoy it now because it's still spooky season because Thanksgiving is not a real holiday. Enjoy the video. Why do we like ghost stories? Is it the intrigue of the possibility of the afterlife? Is it because of the genuine horrific moments that ghosts can provide? Is it because ghosts can be a metaphor for problems and insecurities in our own lives? All three of these are true, and some of these form the basis for the greatest ghost stories ever told, from literary works like The Woman in Black, The Turn of the Screw, A Christmas Carol, and The Shining, to cinematic stories like The Grudge, 1408, Candyman, and Poltergeist, just to name a few. However, today, for a special Halloween episode of The Whiplash Effects, I wanted to talk about my personal favorite ghost story, as well as its very different but very powerfully moving 2018 Netflix adaptation. I'm of course talking about Shirley Jackson's The Haunting of Hill House. Jackson's novel was something new for ghost stories, as she focused less on just a simple haunted house story and focused more on people, earnest but misguided people who, while coming from different walks of life, could all have a shared experience. The novel's story begins when a group of 4 people consisting of Dr. John Montague, Eleanor Vance, Theodora, no last name given, and Luke Sanderson meet together at the titular Hill House to conduct an experiment to prove the existence of the supernatural. They stay in the house for an entire summer as each one of them experiences increasing supernatural phenomena, with Eleanor in particular being heavily affected. This all culminates with the group blaming Eleanor for all the supernatural mishaps and demand she leave Hill House, but being warped by the house, Eleanor considers it her home and refuses to leave. Eventually she does, and the novel ends with Eleanor driving into an oak tree, which, implies her death. The novel was a huge hit, with it selling lots of copies as well as inspiring many future horror writers, including Stephen King himself, who wrote a lengthy review of it in his book Danse Macabre. It was such a huge hit that it was adapted to film only 4 years after the original was released. Directed by legend Robert Wise, 2 years after West Side Story and 2 years before Sound of Music, the 1963 version, titled just The Haunting, is one of the best ghost movies ever made. With great cinematography and a stellar script and cast, The Haunting showed how good of a ghost story could be when you are subtle with the scares and focus more on tension. It was received very well and was mostly a 1-to-1 adaptation of the book, and is still considered to this day to be a certified classic. It's surprising that Hill House hasn't really had many adaptations, with a sizable 55-year gap between... Do I have to? Fine. Haunting 1999 sucks, and that's all I really have to say about it. I mean, just look at this shit. Now let's talk about the amazing show. The Haunting of Hill House, the Netflix show, not the book, is amazing. It is a perfect modern reimagining of the Hill House story and is one of the best shows on Netflix in general, but there's not much competition there. Hill House is the love child of modern day horror genius Mike Flanagan, who himself is on a huge winning streak with hit after hit, including Absentia, Oculus, Hush, and the previously thought unadaptable and unfilmable Gerald's Game. Flanagan decided when he was adapting Hill House to use the setting and the ideas of the original story, but to craft his own original narrative and characters. Long gone are the force of investigating ghosts, and here comes the Crane family of 7, whose summer stay in Hill House leaves 6 of the family traumatized and Mother Olivia dead. The show follows 2 timelines: the Crane siblings as children in 1992 during their summer stay at the titular Hill House as supernatural happenings and a night that changed everything, and the modern day of 2018, which follows the siblings as adults when they reunite after another tragedy in the family. Each of the 5 siblings were affected in a different way, starting with oldest Stephen, who was affected the least and became a writer in adulthood, writing about the experience of living at the house, even though he doesn't believe in any of the supernatural. Shirley, who became a mortician due to her experiences with death. Theodora, who became a child psychologist and has the ability to feel people's thoughts and emotions through touch. And finally, we have twins Luke and Nell, who were the most affected by the events, Luke becoming a heroin addict and Nell becoming haunted by the bent neck lady, one of the many ghosts of this series. The siblings have also become distant with their father, who is hiding what truly happened on the night their mother died, and keeps to his claim that the house murdered his wife. Hugh himself brought his family to Hill House with the purpose of renovating it and selling it so the family can build their permanent dream home. I think the genius of Hill House is how it uses ghosts to showcase the trauma of all the characters and how they all overcome their trauma through understanding their ghosts. Now don't get me wrong, this show is still really creepy with a ton of tense scenes and lots of background details adding extra scares. This show also has one of the best and most effective jump scares ever, and I won't spoil it here, so go watch the show for yourself. Over the course of 10 episodes, we learn all about all these characters, with the first 5 episodes introducing each of the Crane siblings and showing all their character traits and their roles in the story, and the final 5 episodes follow them together after the tragic death of one of their own, and them all coming to terms with Hill House and the demons inside caused by it. I genuinely can't go into much else without spoiling, and this is one of those shows I believe everyone should experience with a completely blind view and open mind so they can fully appreciate everything Flanagan was crafting, from the writing to the directing to the editing. I think this is one you guys should experience for yourselves, so please, if you have Netflix, watch it on Netflix, and if you don't, I'm not going to promote any illegal activities, but you could. In conclusion, Hill House, the novel, the 1963 movie, and the Netflix show, the 1999 movie, is still, in my opinion, one of the greatest ghost stories ever made, and most versions of it are a phenomenally good read or an exceptional watch this Halloween season. So if you're in the mood for something spooky, get yourself seated, get a warm cup of apple cider or hot chocolate, cuddle in your comfiest blanket, and enjoy yourself with something spooky and thought-provoking. Happy Halloween, everyone.